Hi, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. On part 4 of our series on kicking ass in bariatric surgery, let's talk about some of the downsides, some of the things that you need to prepare for in order to make your surgery as successful as possible. We've talked about the prep work that you need to do in order to have a successful surgery, reducing the size of the liver by doing a low-carb diet. You're suffering through your first month in the healing process, and then that transition. When you're on your own after that first month. Let's talk about a couple of downsides, though, that they probably kind of alluded to but didn't really tell you in your prep before you had the surgery. Number one, what are you going to do with the loose skin? See, when you lose weight rapidly, you're going to have some excess skin. Now, part of that is, depends on who you are, your age. It also is going to depend on your genetics. Did you pick your parents well? And, did they have good skin? And these things will all play in a part of it. But really what it boils down for most of us is, what do you eat and how much do you exercise? That's going to determine the majority of it. And I've seen really bad pictures of people that went back to eating junk food after the bariatric surgery, and they were couch potatoes. And the amount, they lost weight, but all they had was just hanging, drooping skin, and it is really unsightly. You don't have to be that person. You can, maximize what you've got by exercising. And look, frankly, when you're just starting off, it's probably going to be walking, but start adding in weight training, put in some resistance, building as much muscle underneath that skin as possible, and that will give you some shape and contour. Good food, particularly meat, bone broth, things like that, are going to really help you give your body the building blocks you're going to need to make the skin work. Now, there's been some talk about intermittent fasting or long-term fasting to create a thing called autophagy. Autophagy is where your body, it's literally where your body eats itself. Your body is designed to eat unhealthy cells. When you've got a weak mitochondria in a particular cell and you don't feed for a little while, the body cannibalizes weak cells. It's part of our natural system. And part of what, people hope is that if they don't eat all the time and they create autophagy in the body, their body will be eating some of those excess cells, and there may be something to it. But frankly, I've fasted, sometimes I'll take about a week and I won't eat just to see if I can do it. And, it's self-tests that I do from time to time. And I've got loose skin. And I eat well, and I do exercise, and I fast, and I do intermittent fasting. Every day I've got a narrow 8-hour eating window. But I still have excess skin, particularly my inner thighs. And at some point, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and have skin reduction surgery to get rid of it. Thankfully, my significant other really doesn't bother her, so I've just never bothered getting it done. But at some point, I probably will. So, unfortunately, the only solution that we know of at the moment to really, there's no gels, there's no creams, there's nothing you can rub on it that's going to make it go away mysteriously. Your best shot is diet, exercise, rest, etc., and try some intermittent fasting, see if that works. So that's, but look, if you've lost weight and you're metabolically healthier and you're stronger and you're going to live longer, okay, what's some loose skin? If that's the worst that's going to happen, that's not a bad trade-off. You're going to have it anyway. You can have a really bad belly, and you could be unhealthy and die of a heart attack, or you can have some loose skin. I'll take the loose skin. But let's talk about the real downside, one of the real dangers that comes from having bariatric surgery, and that is alcohol and the dangers of cross-addiction. There's a reason why many of us need bariatric surgery, and that's because of our relationship to food. And hopefully you are doing a program where they talk to you about your relationship with food in the past. And some people have almost as much of an addiction to food as an alcoholic or a heroin addict has to their drug of choice. So work through those issues ahead of time. But let me give you a special warning about alcohol. See, your relationship with alcohol is going to change. It is not going to be the same as what it was like before you had the surgery. Because frankly, you're going to have a tube. You're no longer going to have a stomach. And what I noticed was when I finally started drinking, I waited many months before I had my first drink after I had bariatric surgery. And when I had it, it didn't feel the same. It used to be that I would have a drink and it would rest in my stomach and I'd feel warm and I knew I had had a drink. But because of this tube that's going, that used to be my stomach, it ran straight into my intestines. And unfortunately, what would happen is it would take 2 or 3 drinks before I felt like I'd had a drink. And over time, my tolerance for alcohol started going up. And frankly, after a couple of years of that, I became a full-fledged alcoholic. I could no longer control my drinking. And that was a separate issue well beyond the scope of this video. But I want to warn you ahead of time that your relationship with alcohol will probably change. The way you handle it will probably change. Some people get remarkably drunk very quick on a single drink. So, if and when you ever decide that you're going to try alcohol again, do so in a very controlled environment. Do not be out by yourself, because some people have these really wild things that happen and they lose control rather rapidly. It affects them much differently. So expect how the effect of alcohol is going to work on you to change pretty rapidly. Here's my other warning about alcohol. When you start drinking again, it seems to stall or stop your weight loss at that point. The way alcohol is metabolized is the liver handles that first. So if you eat, even if you eat good food, the liver is going to try to get the poison of alcohol out of its system out first. So if you drink a lot, it's going to be very busy trying to process that alcohol out. And you can look on the websites and you can figure out how long it takes the liver to process an ounce of alcohol. And it can be quite a while. And that means that your liver is not processing food until all the alcohol is out of its system. So it prioritizes getting rid of alcohol, which means a lot of times, unfortunately, even if you're eating a low-carb diet, and if you're drinking bourbon or whiskey or distilled spirits, distilled spirits, if you look it up, they have 0 carbs. So you could be doing a low-carb diet and drinking distilled spirits, and yet you're not losing weight, because the body, the liver in particular, is processing the alcohol first. Alcohol is a poison, and it's going to slow down, if not stop, your weight loss. So I really recommend that, frankly, you hit your weight loss goal before you think about having your first drink. Because I noticed, me personally, that my weight loss stopped once I had the first drink. And unfortunately, it created other problems in my life that I don't really want to get into. But let's put it this way. I got to the point where the only way I could have any peace in my life was to just not drink at all. So I haven't had anything to drink for over 5 years. And I don't miss it. I'm thankfully probably much healthier for it. And I'm losing weight. I started losing weight again too after I quit drinking. So be careful with alcohol. Be careful with cross addictions. If you'll notice, they keep talking about that in all the classes that are getting you ready to have this surgery, that there's a very real danger of cross addiction. There's a lot of people that were not alcoholics before they had the bariatric surgery that became alcoholics afterwards. So it does happen. Be aware of it. Again, forewarned is forearmed. And you can spot the problems. Frankly, you don't have to live your life with alcohol. You may be one of those people that can have, 1 sip of wine and you're done, and that's fine. More power to you. I am not that person. I mean, once I start, I'm off to the races and I know it. So it depends on you. You know, you're an adult, you can make up your own mind. I'm just warning you about my experiences and the experiences of many others. You might want to not have it, you might want to. So, can you do me a favor? If you've had bariatric surgery, you know, what's been your experience? Write down some comments down below so that other people can be aware of what happened with the extra skin. What was your relationship with alcohol? Did you have problems with other addictions that may have popped up? I mean, many of us have got psychological issues that, you know, and it springs up in weird ways. After we start getting healthier or we make a change in one area, and the body wants to get us addicted in another area. It's just part of life. So what's your experience been like? You know, leave comments below. Encourage other people. I mean, they can be overcome. Thankfully, you know, I don't drink. I know that, you know, you can overcome alcoholism. I'm pretty darn strong, and, you know, frankly, I don't have a lot of excess skin, but I do in the inner thighs. And that's only one way out, and that's surgery. And at some point, I probably will have that. If you like this message, please hit the like button, the subscribe button. It tells the algorithm that, you know, this is important information and may be useful to other people. So please share, and, you know, it's helpful. It helps us get the information out to others. If you like being part of this tribe, please, you know, poke around, look at the other videos. They may be helpful to you, and I hope they are. We'll be doing more down the road, but I've got one more video tomorrow in this series on how to kick ass in bariatric surgery, and that is getting your nutrition ready for the long haul. We'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore.